Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast, where it is about life and living. But there's one thing that is so true about life is you have to take care of your finances and have your riches and resources right on this planet. If you don't, then you'll always be chasing. And I have a beautiful, wonderful, awesome woman who is here to pull it all out of us, to put us on the right path to where we need to be with our right to riches. Please help me to welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast, Jennifer Cramer Lewis. Hello.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much. So I've watched your YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, I stalked it all day. And so when people were coming over, they're like, what do you watch? I'm like, go away, leave me alone, I'm busy. What else do you have to facilitate people to help them to understand that they have the right to be rich?
Yeah, what a great question. So one of the things that I noticed when I started taking these courses that I'm now a facilitator of was most people have been taught to turn their own knowing off when it comes to money, wealth, finances. Like they just glaze right over and they expect you to give them the information on what they should do to build their wealth and finances. And I'm here to tell you that you actually know what's right for you with your own finances. And so if you start asking, what do I know about this? What do I know about making money for me? What kind of work could I do that would be a wealth generator for me? Like, it's always going to be different for every single person. And so I remember somebody asking me, Jennifer, what do you know about money? And I stopped and I was like, wow, I actually know a lot.
With that knowledge, you know, that was your epiphany. That was your moment. And you discovered, it's like, hey, I have a lot of wealth and knowledge and wisdom about this. Did that set you on the path for yourself to prove that you could have the riches that you desired in this life?
Yeah. Not even prove. It was more like allow the riches to come and find me. And, you know, stop getting in my own way.
Oh, you just dropped a bomb. Say it again.
It was funny, actually. If you don't mind, I'm going to tell you just a tiny little story. I was just actually down in Mexico in Puerto Vallarta, and people put these beautiful yachts down at the marina in Vallarta there. And my husband and I were going out on a tour, and there was this gorgeous yacht. And so I was just standing there looking at it and enjoying it and wondering about who owned it. And I would say probably 9 out of every 10 people went by had a point of view that that was too opulent, or it would cost too much money to maintain, or that was just the weirdest thing that anybody could ever do with their money was to own a beautiful yacht. And so if we didn't actually have that point of view, then what could actually show up?
Oh, that's absolutely true. But, you know, a lot of it's been conditioning. And so you have to think most of the people, particularly in the United States, are the descendants of people who came out of the Great Depression, where 25% of the nation was unemployed and there was a lot of strife. There was the Dust Bowl. And so that permeated with very much, you know, finding something that's really as safe as possible, taking your pennies and storing them away. But we've moved into another time. And as you can see, we've moved from a manufacturing base to a service-based economy, and which has opened up a great deal of opportunities for people to flourish in. So do you have problems? I don't want to say problems. Do you have some obstructions with people getting them to understand that the old mindset is gone? It's time for them to adopt a new.
Yeah. So one of the things I love, there's 1,000 things I love to ask people. It's like, maybe have a look at like, who actually does that point of view come from?
Right.
Like is it actually your point of view that having a yacht is way too opulent? Or is it your parents' point of view or your grandparents' point of view or your great-grandparents' point of view? Is it a cultural point of view? Is it sort of a regional or a socioeconomic point of view? And if it's actually not your point of view, like, would you be willing to receive the idea that maybe you could have a yacht? I mean, it might not be a 200-foot yacht. It might just be a little one.
A dinghy.
Yeah. Well, you could start there and see, or go out on other people's yachts and enjoy their yachts and find out what it feels like, how much your body loves to be out on the ocean.
I like what you're saying because one of my mantras is experience life. And sometimes you can't experience life until you experience life, which means get out of your way, get out of your comfort zone. Because if you don't experience things, at least try to experience things, then you'll never know what's available to you. You will never expand your circle. So you won't have anything to prosper for. You'll just take very small increments versus saying, I'm going to make this leap and go exercise on this. So what mindset changes could people actually make? Are there some exercises or some mission statements that could make people attract more money into their lives?
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch. One of the things that I really love to recommend to people is to start getting used to having money. And so if you get paid every 2 weeks, you can actually take some of that money aside and just keep it. And I know, like, there's been times in my life where that was like super difficult for me to do. Like, I'd put it away, and I'd end up with like maybe, $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 sitting somewhere, and then some giant bill would come along. And, congratulate yourself that you do have that money set aside if you're starting to do that. And if you're not doing that, then consider that might change things for you. And how it changes is you start making choices based on having money rather than lacking money.
That's so poignant that you just said that. You know why? Because 2 weeks ago, my wife said, let's go. And I said, where are we going? She's like, we're going to the store. I was like, okay, cool. So we get to the store and she says, there's the hot tub I want.
Yay. She's like, we're planning for this hot tub.
No, it wasn't we're planning for it. She got the hot tub.
Nice.
And she says, okay, honey, when can you put it in? I was like, sweetie, you don't understand. Now I have to build a fence because you're European and we know what you're going to do in the hot tub. B, I got to build yeah, right. I got to build a deck. I got to get an electrician. But I was like, okay, you got that. I'll just go take care of this. And it was no problem. And that's one of the things that is so important, having gratitude for being able to experience these things, as you say, to help your mindset change over from a lack to a prosperity mindset.
Yeah, I love that. And when your body starts to get used to having, like a hot tub or, having even, trips out on a boat or some of the things that I do is I volunteer around horses. I grew up on a horse farm. I travel so much for my business. It's actually not smart for me to have a horse right now, but I do have the benefit of having horses in my life. And so thinking of people, like, if you can't afford something yet, why don't you go experience it in a way that actually works for you financially to find out whether or not you would love to have a hot tub or you would love to have a yacht or you would love to have a horse. And then we can start looking forward to something that we actually know what it feels like to have it. And so money's actually not the thing that we want. We want what the benefit of money will give us.
Oh, that was so awesome. And most of the time people think of it from a standpoint of accruing numbers. Oh, I only have $10 in the bank. Oh, I only have $20 in the bank. It's only $1,000. You know, my bills are going to be that. But over time, if you stay with that plan, like you said, when you have those life moments that happen, you don't have to go into hock or what I call debt slavery to take care of it if you're conscious about your financial situation and think ahead at least, 1 to 2 to 5 years and say, where will this be if I keep up this pace at that time? So what tips and tricks can you suggest to the public? I mean, you've given us a great many of them, but are there any more that you can give us so that people can shift their consciousness towards a wealth mindset versus a poverty mindset?
Yeah, I love it. I love what you said about debt slavery, because there's so much mindset out there about, just slapping down your credit card and pay later, like fun now, pay later. And boy, will you ever pay later.
Yeah, buddy. That was my 2008 moment when I was discussing with you earlier.
Yeah. So here's my tip is ask whatever it is that you're thinking about buying. If I buy you, will you make me money?
Ooh, good one.
And so it could be, like a gorgeous dress that you're going to wear out to some sort of an event. And then you're going to meet somebody who invites you to this thing where then you end up getting a job opportunity, or a contract or meeting some like cool people that you could work with. Right. So it may not be directly correlated, but the energies of things that you purchase can actually give you information. Like if I buy this piece of art, will it make me money? If I buy this dress, will it make me money? And it's not saying that you're not going to buy it, even if it tells you, no, I'm not going to make you money. Because I always ask, are you going to make me money? And if it says no and I really want it,
you're going to get it.
Well, now the next question I ask is, are you going to make me friends?
Ah, good one.
And then if it's like, no, it's not going to make me money or friends, then I won't buy it.
So basically, there was this movie a couple of years ago, and one of the scenes in there, it was a young man who was raised by a single mom, and he was like 18 to 21 years old, still living with his mom, and she got a boyfriend. She's like, you're old enough now. You need to get out. But he was like, I'm resistant. So her boyfriend had a talk with the young man when the mom wasn't around. He was like, see, you young guys are a little bit too ignorant. And he was like, you guys don't understand the difference between guns and butter. And they looked at him all puzzled. And he said, so your butter is your jewelry that you can't afford, that you just want to look good in front of your friends. Your car that you can't afford because you don't even have a job yet, but you have this car with rims on it that don't give you any value. He said, but your guns, that's your real estate, that's your stocks, that's your bonds, that's your savings account. He was like, stop looking at the butter because it's going to melt. He's like, the guns are physical. They will always be here. So that's basically, that's what you made me think of when you said that. I want to go back. Let's go back in time, probably 10 years ago when you were like 19 or 20. And, and what was your mindset then versus now?
Yeah, it's interesting. In 2008, like you were talking about, I was working in the financial services industry, and basically the bank shut. Like I lost my job. I couldn't actually find a job in the financial services industry. I did own my own home at the time. I owned a townhouse, and the market just crashed. It was actually worth $100,000 less than I had paid for it.
Wow.
I didn't have any money. I actually had to have roommates come and live with me. So me and my two sons would crowd into my bedroom to sleep. One of them would fall asleep with me and the other on an air mattress. And, I just did everything that I could to make ends meet. And I had such a negative mindset. I really felt like the world was kicking me where I didn't want to be kicked. And so those were the thoughts that were going on in my head about, I don't deserve this. My life's not any good. I just had no way to get out of it. And I started listening to this lady that facilitates this access consciousness stuff that I do with money. And one of the things that she facilitated was maybe up to 98% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions aren't even ours. We're just picking them up culturally. Maybe we're kind of like energetically available or a little bit psychic, and we're just, pulling them out of people's minds. And so when I heard that, I thought, wow, maybe this sort of despair I'm feeling isn't even mine. I'm just sort of picking it up from the collective consciousness. And that really changed things for me. And I started asking this question, how does it get any better than this? And so what happened was stuff started happening that was better. And then I'd be like, wow, awesome, a new contract, more money, a raise at work.
Right.
How does it get any better than this? And, more cool things started to show up that were a lot better. And it started from that thought that maybe those sort of despair feelings weren't even mine.
So that's pretty awesome. So when the student is ready, the teachings will begin. That is so awesome. 2008 was a big wake-up call for many people who were on this track, and all of a sudden everything changed. And I've seen a great mindset shift in people for living versus being or buying. So one of the things that you have uncovered is people really need to sit down and have inventory with themselves to figure out where they are and where they want to be. Do you find people are having trouble with that? Like, just accepting where they are and that they need to change?
Yeah, maybe not necessarily having trouble with it. Maybe having trouble knowing what the process is and getting in Overwhelm. It's not an infomercial for, hiring me as your coach or anything, but to have a look at, Overwhelm is the place where you can have the most change. Once you come to that understanding, like, wow, I can't actually do this. I need to sit across from somebody and, learn some new tools about, how to change my money mindset, how to change my actual finances. Who would like to help me with this? It is so interesting. People are most resistant to the things that they think that they can't accomplish. And I'm here to tell you that there's so many nice people out there who actually have a really huge acumen when it comes to do with money, comes to do with coaching and mindset. And so many of us are so generous with our time. All you have to do is basically say, hi, I'm having a little trouble here. Could you give me a hand? And I would say dozens of people can come to your rescue. And so just have a look around and ask, hey, if I hire this person, will they make me money?
Awesome. Is there anything you can suggest for the Billionaire Lifestyle audience if you're looking to change your perspective, or if you're saying, I really need to get my mental and physical and spiritual financial self in order, but I don't know where to start? Give just one place, one first brick to step on to start at. Yeah,
well, cool. I actually have a gift if you're interested in having a look at it.
Everyone likes gifts.
Yeah, it was a course actually that I did in 2016. It was just a one-off course that was a jumping off point to people choosing more with me. And it was called Unlocking the Incarcerations of Financial Abuse. Now, that's a pretty heavy title.
That is a heavy title.
Yeah. Financial abuse is basically everywhere somebody had made money something that could control you. Ooh. And so we've probably been financially abused by a lot of people in our lives.
Wait a minute. Make that statement again. Say that again, because I'm trying to grasp it myself.
Well, think about it. Like, how many times have you had money be something that people use to control you?
Now that you say it, many relationships revolve around that scenario.
Sure do. And if we don't have any coaching or training on how to sort of transcend that mindset that, oh, well, my wife controls the purse strings, or my husband controls the purse strings, or my parents control the purse strings, or, like if you come from a religious background, like there's so many different places where we get locked up about money. And so this course is 90 minutes. It's video or audio or both. And people are really finding that just listening to it starts to unwind these places where we're locked up about money. So the link is bit.ly/unlockingyou. And yeah, it's interesting. I had a lady from Mexico City. She said somehow she stumbled across it.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't even speak English, and she started listening to it anyways. And she said, wow, it's really changed my financial reality already.
Awesome. I like that word, financial reality, because most people live in a financial dream, and then that dream pulls them into a certain level of slavery that they rarely get out of, and suffer because of it. So let's do this. I need you to close your eyes. And I'm going to take you to the Wayback Machine. And you're going back to where you're 15 years old. And you're sitting on the couch, the you that is right now, that couch that you're sitting on, and you hear a knock at the door. You're the only one home, and your 15-year-old you is at the door. And your 15-year-old you says, tell me something so I can move through this life just a little better.
Yeah. What would I tell her?
Yes.
I would tell her, stop listening to everybody else but you.
Oh, that's a good one. So go with your intuition, which a lot of people don't do anymore. I mean, people are coming back to it. A lot of people on the show are pulling that up, but that's a revolving theme, and that's a great one. Now, let's find out every place that people can find you.
Oh my gosh. So I am so out there. So if you go into the Google search and you just basically put at Jennifer Cramer Lewis, so Cramer with a C, Lewis, Lewis, and Jennifer with the double N's. I have a TV show called Audacious. I have a podcast that's launching next week called Audacious.
Awesome.
In fact, if you just hashtag Audacious, you'll probably find a whole bunch of me everywhere. I have a YouTube channel. And then also come and say hello on Facebook. If you have any questions about what's going on with you financially, I'm really generous with my time, so just come and say hello.
Awesomeness. So are you going to have any courses this year? Are you going to be speaking live or having any workshops related to your works?
Yeah. I'm traveling in June. I will be at the end of June, early July. I'm going to be in France. I'm going to be in the Normandy coast in France, doing a 4-day workshop there, and then a couple of evening workshops on wealth. And then just right after that, I've got 2 dates in Russia, one in Siberia of all places.
In the summertime.
Yes, in the summertime. And it's gorgeous. Siberia kind of looks a bit like Arizona.
Yeah.
And then I will be in St. Petersburg, beautiful St. Petersburg, basically like the jewel of Russia. And then I have tons of online courses. I have one coming up in the next 2 weeks called Receiving, the Elegance of Receiving. Sure. And so we're going to be talking about receiving with your body, receiving with your money flows, and also receiving with sex.
Oh, yeah. You hear that, folks? Got to get into that one. That's covering all the bases. You can't miss it. All the bases. Receiving. That's right. Well, thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure. This has been so fun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do it. So we're going back to the original. Here's what you got to do. When you get out the shower, make sure no one's around, because you need to spend some time with yourself. And I want you to do this. As you get out the shower and you dry yourself off, drop the towel. And I want you to walk up to the mirror, and I want you to spread your arms out And I want you to look at how regal you are. Because you have to think about it. It took 2 cells to come together and to agree to make the body that is you. And then 30 days after, that 2 cells turn into a billion cells, which makes you a billionaire already. Now, get closer to the mirror, and I want you to focus in on your own eyeballs. And when you focus in on your own eyeballs, I want you to realize how closely they resemble galaxies. As above, so below. Everything is fractal. And remember, when you meet someone who has those galaxies just like you, treat them with honor, love, and respect. Till next time, love you all. Peace.